everyone here in the sanctuary and everyone on Zoom. We're so happy to be with you today and see your smiling faces, actually see those smiling faces, and in some cases see those smiling eyes. We do want to make an announcement that we are going along with the recommendation that masks are not required but recommended, and you may choose. Just be mindful of the people around you if you would, and your own feeling, how you're feeling and so forth. And those of you that choose to wear a mask, please feel comfortable in that. We totally accept whatever anyone's choice is today. All right, so thank you. And it is really, I'm so grateful to be here today with you. Sunday's always such a highlight for me when I can be together with this community. And so we are going to begin by lighting the Christ candle. So, as we just settle into our seats with the candle lit, just see that light flame within your own heart. In the beginning was the one presence of the undivided, unmanifest, pure spirit of life, light, and love. In its generosity, it shared itself, its consciousness, and its love in the visible form of creation. We acknowledge this presence within us and as us, the creative energy of the divine feminine and masculine, expressing in all our giftedness and creativity. We acknowledge this presence in our companion Mother Earth and in all sentient beings. This universal presence in everything we call the Christ. We light this candle as a visible reminder of that Christ presence in expressing in, as, and through us in this present now moment. And I would like to say that we welcome Claire Palmerino, who's going to be giving this talk today, and Kalyani, who brought her beautiful music to share with us today. So we're so happy to have them with us. Yay! It'll be a very wonderful service today. And so we now have our opening song, I Am Alive with the Spirit of God. We're going to stand
The Shakers. Good morning, everyone.
Spirit of God. Well, good morning. I understand we have some people here for the first time. Would you like to raise your hands so we can acknowledge you? Well, welcome. And I just need everyone to know that, I know you know this, but the newcomers need to know I am the pinch hitter, and Reverend Jerry will be back next Sunday. So please give him the chance, because he is the pro.
We love you.
Thank you. Well, greetings, beautiful, divine, and eternal beings. In this life, I'm called Claire. But just for a moment, I want to take off my Claire mask and just gaze soul to soul. And as I look out upon you, I do see divine, beautiful, eternal beings. I love you. As the powerful beings we are, I propose that we join together with an intention for our time together this morning. And the intention goes like this: I choose right now to align my energy systems to the highest frequency available to me. Is that something you can agree with? Well, that's great. Then let's do it. I'm going to speak the intention aloud once again, and if you agree, just silently say yes within your heart and your mind. Here we go. If you want, you may close your eyes and let the vibration of my voice enter into your field. I choose right now to align my energy systems to the highest frequency available to me. Okay, well, now I'm going to put my Claire mask back on. And that mask feels a little looser. Maybe one day it will just drop off altogether. We just aligned our energy systems to the highest frequency available. So let's speak a bit about energy. Now, I'm not a physicist, or am I a musician, so I may get some technicalities wrong. So my apologies to you who have a deeper understanding of these things. You're familiar with the idea of octaves, I'm sure. In music, an octave is a range of tones or notes that go from low to high. And the high notes of one octave border the low notes of the next octave. Yeah, does that make sense? So I invite you to think about the earth plane as occupying an octave of energies ranging from low to high. And our small personality selves move about and have experiences and interpret those experiences almost exclusively in the earth plane. The low frequencies resonate with fear and judgment, anger, unworthiness, contraction, and separation. These frequencies, unfortunately, saturate the consciousness of humanity. And we experience these frequencies as inner states within our bodies, the physical body as well as the energy bodies, known as emotional bodies or mental bodies. And I think you will agree that those inner states are far from comfortable. They're often painful and discordant. Now, the higher frequencies on the earth plane resonate with states of unity and expansion and love and compassion, both in the collective consciousness and in our individuated physical and energy bodies. And these energies feel amazing and wonderful. Now, we are multidimensional beings, and so we exist in multiple octaves at the same time. So while my small self, Claire, operates and navigates within this earth plane octave. My higher self, and even beyond, I live in multiple dimensions at the same time. My higher self is in a higher octave. And the low frequencies of that higher octave are pure consciousness and pure love and undisturbed harmony. They border on human love, on what we know for peace, but this is even purer. The state of unity consciousness is a given in the higher octave of the higher self. So coming to the realization that my true self is now and always expressing in the higher octave of unity, I understand that aligning my small self to the higher self lifts me to the highest frequencies I can hold. And the more this happens, the more I align, the higher the frequency I can anchor. It's an acclimation process. I am already my higher self. There is no striving to be perfect. We already are. I like to tease and say, hello, fellow beings. I have a confession to make. I am perfect. And of course, if you ask Jay, he'd get a different story. But my higher self is perfect, and your higher self is perfect. So one of the ways we can just exalt the experiences we have in this earth for our individual selves and for humanity as a collective is to align that small self to the higher self and invite that higher self to express through us. So how do we do that? What are the ways that we can align to the higher self? Well, that's what I plan to explore in today's message. So stay tuned. And now we'll have the prayer list. As we're getting the prayer list set up, I'd like to just suggest something, and that is that as we read these names, in your heart space, you can beam love to each of these people. There's a recent study out of the University of Kassel in Germany that showed that when people intentionally go into their heart space and beam love out into the world, the number of photons that are emitted increased from like 20,000 per minute, I don't know if it was minute or second, but increased from 20,000 to 100,000. They can actually measure this, the photons, the particles of light that carry love into the universe. So we imagine, as we speak these names, that we're surrounding each individual with loving light. We lift up Beverly Thomas, Jill Fleeman, Margaret Huntley Main, Margie and Todd Sloan, David Kyle, John and Margaret Newland, Yvonne Coutet, Joe Grandinetti, Sharon and Walt Watson, Diane Dyer, Katie Eli, Julia Cashindo, and I can't see the other name, I'm sorry, but we include that, please say it. Thank you, and her baby, John Giuliano, rain in the foothills, snow in the Sierra. Can you just see it? Amen is right. Is that the end? Okay. So now we'll have the reading of the daily word by Sandy.
This opening speaks right to this daily word. Today's daily word is inspiration. I am grateful to those who inspire me. I admire and respect the sacred calling and work of innovative and groundbreaking thinkers and leaders. The work they have done to forge new paths and lead humanity in new directions inspires me. I've heard inspiration described as the breath of God, an inner quickening. This quickening is mine as I forge new paths and boldly journey forward, creating my life anew. To keep divine inspiration flowing, I make time to rest in contemplative stillness. I begin each day with a prayer for a receptive mind and heart. I pray for the courage and clarity to release my rigid expectations. I live in a state of gratitude for the inspiration that flows from God and the opportunity to share it. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Genesis 2:7. And now we'll go on to the daily meditation.
So for our time of meditation, I've adapted the Bless Me method from Suzanne Giesman, if you're familiar with her, and also brought in affirmations that come from the 3 trilogies by Paul Selig. He has 9 books, 3 trilogies that are rich in affirmations that carry such powerful energy. It is my prayer that these affirmations, these statements, will invite within you expansion and harmony. And I hope that as you hear the I am statements, that you will hear them as though from your higher self. As the vibration of my voice enters your mind, you are welcome to simply say yes in order to align with them, and then feel yourself expand and rise. So settle into your chairs, and if you like, you may close your eyes. And as always, we begin with the breath. Deepen and slow the breath. Fill the lungs and belly with your inhale, and then slowly exhale for a little bit longer than the inhale. This signals to the body that it's time to relax. Imagine that you are sitting in a shaft of brilliant white light that comes down from the cosmos and streams around you and through you and into the center of the earth, grounding you to Mother Earth. This shaft of light comes through the dimensions and encompasses all parts of you. Bring your awareness to your heart center. Think of a person or a beloved pet, someone that triggers joy, or something that floods your heart with gratitude. Doing so brings coherence to your heart and energy bodies. For the moment, I ask you to set aside your human story. Set aside what happened this morning or last night, or what you are thinking about for later today. Set your human story aside by simply saying silently in your mind, I surrender.
Yes.
With eyes closed, momentarily shift your eyes upward and silently say the word shift. Allow your awareness to travel upwards, higher and higher, and even higher. You have entered a state of expanded consciousness, and you are limitless. Listen to the voice of your higher self, your divine self, who you truly are. I know who I am in truth. I am an aspect of the divine, a child of God. I know what I am in truth. I am the divine manifesting in form, in a body, as a body. I know how I serve in truth. I serve by expressing my authentic being. I am in union with Source. Nothing can ever separate me from Mother, Father, God. I am the light. I am forever loved, forever lovable, forever loving. Dear one, I know who you are. I know what you are. You are free. You are free. You are free. I hope that was delicious. Bring your awareness back to waking consciousness. Wiggle your toes, stretch your fingers, and when you're ready, open your eyes. And now we'll take this energy of this meditation into a beautiful song. Your light is in all forms.
You can still close your eyes. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Ooh, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Ooh, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Ooh, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Your light is in all forms. Your love in all beings. Ooh, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Ooh, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu.
Thank you, Kalyani. That was beautiful. I want to just confess something. My heart is really racing. And I don't think it's nervousness so much as just tremendous energy flowing through and growing in this room. And on Zoom, we welcome the people on Zoom. I'm so glad you're here. Whew. Well, a couple of weeks ago when Jerry asked me to do this, I said yes. And then I said, what was I thinking? And for the last 2 weeks, my mind has been pretty much flooded with ideas and energy coming in. And what about this? And you could talk about that. And it's just my hope that you'll take away something today that will lighten your heart, give you hope, and some things that you can apply in your practical life. Because you see, my friends, for the last 12 months, I feel like I have been undergoing a revolutionary transformation. And the inspiration that was in the Daily Word about teachers that inspire us, some teachers have come into my life, and there are too many to even name, but the primary ones are a woman named Suzanne Giesman, and her teaching, her YouTubes. Reverend Jerry and I went to Unity Village in October and spent a weekend, a few days with her at a conference, and it was incredible. And then I rejoined the Way of Mastery, and coming back to the Way of Mastery was a real coming home. Oh my gosh, there are things in there. I've been through the book at least 3 times, if not 4. And coming into the book again, it is so rich, and I see it with new eyes. There are things there that the first few times just went over my head, and now I'm taking it in at almost a cellular level. And finally, there's 3 trilogies. How many of you are familiar with Paul Selig? Not too many. Well, I'm going to be drawing heavily from his work. He is also a channel, and he channels guides, as does Suzanne Giesman. And these guides channel spiritual wisdom that is very much in alignment. It meshes beautifully with Way of Mastery, which is also a channel text. The voice behind the Way of Mastery is Yeshua ben Joseph, otherwise known as Jesus. I'm convinced that Yeshua is in the background in the guides with Paul Selig because I hear his voice, but I believe he has chosen to remain anonymous because his name can be a lightning rod for some people. So anyway, I'm going to be drawing heavily from these sources for the message today. And by the way, I have put copies of all of the Paul Selig books on the back table. Please take a moment if you are at all interested to look through them. And if you decide to read them, I really encourage you to at least start with book 2, if not book 1. Confession, I never did read the book 1. I had book 2 on my shelf in January of 21. I felt drawn to it, and I opened it, and I could not stop reading it. I mean, it just entered my heart. So I can't recommend them strongly enough. Okay, so Suzanne Giesman likes to say that we are blended beings. And by that, she's meaning that we are human and we are spirit. But she also defines 3 selves. She talks about the conditioned self, and this is the self that operates when we're unconscious, when we react from cultural conditioning, when someone says something that triggers an old wound and we just lash out. That's the conditioned self. Then there's the awakened self, and that's the self that identifies as Craig or Christy or Scott, but is aware of the thoughts. And then there's the true self, and the true self is that higher self, that divine self that exists at that higher octave I talked about earlier. Now, Paul Selig's guides usually refer to just the small self and the higher self, so that's what I'm going to use, that terminology. Last fall, we did a wonderful community read. We read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and he spent a lot of time helping us recognize this roommate, as he calls us, the roommate that chatters in our mind constantly, and helping us to distinguish between the roommate chatter and the divine self. Most human beings are probably oblivious to this distinction, and they go about their daily lives thinking that they are this body, that they are this history. I am a person of such and such ethnicity. I am a woman. I am, on and on. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I am, and then the ego can get into all the scolding and all the, the ways that the ego likes to chastise us. Now, the human plane of existence, the collective earth plane, if you will, is steeped in this collective consciousness that is threaded over and over with fear. And we like to say, choose fear over love, and we want to focus on love. But for a moment, I'm going to talk about fear because it is part of our experience here on the earth plane. Fear's offspring include judgment, greed, hate, resentment. These are the many, many ways that fear can express itself in our lives. And we become afraid, and we don't like the way it feels, so we try to protect ourselves from being afraid. So we deny the fear, and we push it aside. But what does that do? The action of fear, according to the way of mastery, is to beget more fear. So fear begets fear. And what do we do with that? How do we battle it? Do we judge it? Do we say, oh, I shouldn't be afraid. Oh, I'm just not the spiritual person I thought I was because I had a judgmental thought. Oh man, I thought I was so high, Well, the real thing is that mastery, Yeshua says mastery is fearlessness, or really being fear-free. But he said, how do you dissolve fear? You don't dissolve fear by judging it. You don't dissolve fear by resisting it, or battling it, or denying it. That's not the way to handle fear, because when you deny fear or you resist it, what happens? It just gets lodged in those energy bodies and makes its way into the physical. So how do you dissolve fear? You look upon it with innocence. You say, there I am feeling fearful. Do I want to choose otherwise? I can choose otherwise. And we can choose love instead of fear. Now, being conditioned the way we are, we find ourselves back into fear, often very quickly. So this is a constant renewal process, if you will. But that's the way that we dissolve fear. Unfortunately, humanity has invested in fear across the millennia. I mean, parents often teach their children with fear. Religions use fear to control the masses. I've heard it said that political parties that make the people more afraid are the ones that win elections. Certainly, news ratings happen when people are more afraid. Perhaps the most fundamental fear that permeates the earth plane is the fear of separation, the fear that we are separate from God. And that is a lie. But we've embraced it as a collective. What a mess. We see the outpicturing of this mess in the wars, in the judgments, in the divisions. So what are we to do? Is there a way out? Can we do anything about it? Can we help ourselves? Yes, and yes. And that's what I hope to really make the point today. We can change the way we experience the world. So let's return to this idea of octaves. Okay, so if on the earth plane, we live in a set of frequencies from low to high. And our higher self lives in the next highest frequency, so that the low frequencies of the higher self border the high frequencies of the lower octave. Now, the low frequencies of the higher self octave are pure consciousness, pure unity consciousness, pure love, perfect peace, harmony beyond what we may have ever experienced. Remember, our higher frequencies are peace and love and harmony, but they get tinged with a little bit of selfishness maybe, or a little bit of condition upon the love. I mean, we are constantly being pulled down to those lower frequencies. But as multidimensional beings, you may have heard that idea that we're multidimensional beings. We exist in these various octaves. There are no doubt in my mind octaves above and above and above, but we can't even imagine it. We only know our experience here on the earth plane, but they're there. So let's see, lost my place. The one thing I want to point out is that if fear is a low frequency in the octave of the earth plane, there is no fear in the higher plane. It simply doesn't exist. The frequencies there cannot hold fear. So your higher self is never in fear. Your higher self is always in perfect peace, always loves with that agape love of God, always. It doesn't know fear. So what kinds of practices, what kinds of applications can we engage in that will elevate our experiences in this world and that will put us more consistently in those higher frequencies? Well, the first thing is to elevate our thoughts. Elevate your thoughts to the higher frequencies. In the Way of Mastery, Yeshua emphasizes over and over again that we are one with God. God is a creator, and therefore we are creators. And we are creating constantly. Unfortunately, more often than not, we are creating unconsciously. How? Through our thoughts. So when we let the small self run rampant and take off in our imaginations, something terrible happening, and that inculcates fear within us, and then we just create more fear, and we are unconsciously generating our experiences. So I'm sure that you have heard probably lots of examples of the small self chatter, but it was kind of fun for me to think one up, so I did. Listen to the chatter. Listen to what runs through your mind in loop upon loop. So here's an imagined small self preparing to fly across the country. I've got to get to the airport in plenty of time. Now, I know I only live 30 minutes from the airport, but there could be traffic. I better leave 6 hours ahead. And a car accident could really snarl things up. So, this is really important to do. And they could lose my baggage. Oh my God, that would be terrible if they lost my baggage. And oh man, I hope that there's nobody sitting next to me in the seat beside me, because I do not want to talk to a stranger. They want to talk politics. And then you go into this whole imagined argument with someone on the plane that doesn't even exist, and you are getting yourself all turned up and churned up in an imaginary energy of fear. That's what's happening. Now, how do you elevate your thoughts? Well, when you become aware that that's what you're doing, you could think otherwise. You can choose thoughts that might create a different experience. For example, you could imagine a very smooth ride to the airport. No accidents. Everything goes according to plan. You have delightful company on the plane. And your bags get to your destination. Well, maybe the bags don't get to the destination. What do you do with that? Well, you say, I put my bags in the hands of the angels, and they will get those bags to me in due time. Maybe if my bags get lost, there's a reason for it, and it will be for my highest good. I mean, that sounds kind of Pollyannish, right? But it is a new way of thinking about our world and how that reality overlays upon our thoughts. Now, I don't mean to be glib or flippant. If I get a serious medical diagnosis, that can take me into a spinning trail of thoughts that can be pretty frightening. But I'm also able to choose thoughts of a higher nature, that perhaps this illness, this diagnosis will bring me into contact with people that might need my light. I can still be of service, even in the midst of my illness or pain. I am the light. Let me bring my light to wherever it can be of service. Another practice is, with intention, you align to your true self and you seek the higher frequencies through affirmations. The Paul Selig books are just filled with beautiful, energetically positive affirmations. Things like, I align to my divine knowing and to the love I exist in. I align to my true self in the vibration of truth. All of my lies are healed. And there's more, these are more than just words. There's an energy there that transforms you. You can seek the wisdom of the upper room or the higher octave. Our higher self is always available to us for wisdom and perspective. We just have to train ourselves. When we're in that moment of sudden crisis, and a crisis doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be a small crisis, like bags getting lost. This is just an incredibly powerful way to experience that small or large crisis. And I have a story I want to share with you. These books, I've been reading these books. This happened last May. And it's just such a great example of what happens when we shift perspective from the small self to the high self. Jay and I were in Southern California, and we had checked into our hotel room in Long Beach, and it was a beautiful hotel and had a nice room. We were just settling down to get into bed, and then our neighbors next door moved in. They were loud, and they expressed themselves with profanity in every single sentence. Okay, and I could feel myself getting agitated. I thought, what do they think they're doing? Don't they know that there are other people around? And I started going, maybe I should call the desk, maybe I'll send security up and quiet those people down. And then I kind of caught myself, and I realized that my small self was running in that little rat wheel, right? And so I just took a pause, and I just said a simple prayer. Please help me see this from the higher perspective. I was reaching to the higher realm. Instantly, I heard, stop listening to the words, listen to the tone. Okay, so I tried that. I said, okay, I'm just going to listen to the tones. And when I did, I realized that they were having a great time over there. It was a party, and they were filled with joy and excitement, and it wasn't anything scary. Yeah, it's not how I express my joy and excitement, but that was their method of expressing it. And then I felt my face smile, and I felt a connection to them because they were so excited and happy and filled with joy. And then I began listening to the words again, and you're going to love. This is what I heard. We're in blankety blank, California. We're in blankety blank, California. And I just had to laugh out loud, and I thought, oh my gosh, what if I had called the desk and sent the security officers up there, and they pounded on the door and told them that they were bothering their neighbors, and just put a squelch on all that fun and party and joy. I mean, it was just, and now today, when I think of those people, I send them love, and I thank them for teaching me, giving me the opportunity to learn this really important message. So try it. The next time you feel that kind of contraction and anger, how do I see it from another higher perspective? The fourth practice is to invite your higher self to express through you. There's a beautiful quote from the Sufi poet Hafiz, and Reverend Jerry loves to read us the poems of Hafiz. And he says, I am the instrument through which the Christ light shines. Wow. It's possible for the higher self to express through you in this earth plane. Wow. When that happens, and the more we can practice, the more it will happen. We become the higher self in form that the Course of Love talks about. The higher self in form. It's possible. We can be the conduit for the higher octave to express on the earth plane. And what's the result of that? We begin infusing that higher frequency into the humanity's collective. And we begin lightening that collective and perhaps becoming the portal for someone else. And that brings me to my last practice, and that is to see and affirm the divine in everyone and everything you encounter. Now, this can be a challenge. And I think that this is probably the most important. So I hope that I can communicate this with clarity. It's not hard to see the divine in a precious grandchild or in a golden sunset. But what about the white supremacists that are standing on the corner yelling hateful things? What about the hate-mongering politicians that want to divide us as a country? What about the one that cuts you off on the freeway and almost kills you? Can you see the divine there? These examples make this concept hard to swallow. But the guides say often, if God is not in everything and everyone, God is in no one and nothing. God is in each sentient being. God expresses as the trees, as the fish in the sea, as the birds in the air, as human beings, as dogs, as cats. God is in everything. Nothing is outside of God. They're fond of saying, what you claim in darkness claims you in darkness. So one more little story and then I'll wrap up. Jay and I take a regular walk every morning, and we walk by this one dog. His name is Bogart. And Bogart is a fine specimen of a Doberman Pinscher. And when we first started walking by him, he frightened me. I'll just be honest. I felt anxious inside because he barked, and he would run back and forth. And there was just this chain link fence between us and Bogart. But I began asking, how do I make, I didn't like feeling that anxiousness. And I had thoughts like, why doesn't that dog just shut up? So trying to take this into practice, I began affirming God in the dog. This is a divine being expressing in his handsomeness and his strength and his athleticism as he runs around this yard. And there have been changes in Bogart's behavior. Now, it might be he's just habituated to seeing Jay and me as we walk by every morning. But there is no doubt that my inner experience was transformed. I can now see Bogart without fear. I now see Bogart as this beautiful divine presence. What a difference it made for me. So can you imagine a new earth that exists in the frequencies of love and compassion and peace without the frequencies of fear? Can you imagine that? It's possible. As more and more of us tune into that higher self, as more and more of us allow that Christ light to shine through us, what happens? I go to the grocery store and my light is shining and I ignite the light within the checker. And think of all those people that she sees coming through her line. And if her light is shining, then she's igniting 1 in 10 of the people that come through her line. They carry that out into the world. We will move to the higher octave. Now, the guides are really clear in the Paul Selig books that humanity is at a crossroads. We can decide to continue living and learning in fear, or we can decide to ascend. And they assure us that humanity as a collective has decided to ascend. It's just a matter of when. How fast can we do it? Well, if we can get a critical mass of people who are shining their lights, who are letting the Christ light assume them, shine through them, we can have a pandemic of a different sort. We've all seen how fast the pandemic, the corona pandemic, circled the globe. Just think if we started a pandemic of love and light. As we affirm the divine in others, we help awaken that person. We help awaken the light within that person. We're not making them better. We're not fixing them. We're not making them holy. They already are. They just don't know it. And so we're helping open that door to the light that's already there within them. Now, spiritual teachers across the planet are telling us right now that there is tremendous support coming to us and with us from unseen helpers. That light is flowing into the planet to the greatest degree that we've ever seen before. And by the way, we didn't even acknowledge it. Today is 02202022. And all those twos are power numbers. And the light is here to support us, to support our transition from our current octave to the next higher one. It can happen that fast. So I'm all in for doing my part in this transition. Will you join me?
So thank you, Claire, for that inspiring message. And I'm so grateful for you, Claire, and for all that you bring to Unity in the Gold Country. It's beautiful. Thank you. So we've come to our time of our love offering. And we are so grateful for whatever you give to Unity in the Gold Country. We have a basket in the front and in the back that you can make your offering. And if you're giving, giving with a friend or a partner, you can either hold hands and hold your offering together as we bless it, or just maybe put your hand on your heart as we say our love offering affirmation. My heart is open to receive and grateful for all my good I give fearlessly and with love. Thank you, God. So now we are going into our special music, and we have our beautiful Kalyani here to sing her song. And I believe that Kalyani has a little announcement to make as well.
Thank you, Claire. That was inspiring. I just, some of you know that this is my last Sunday playing here, and I'm just so grateful, and just want to thank you all, and thank Unity, and thank all of you, Zoom viewers included, for just giving me the opportunity to share living music. Well, that is you. It really is a precious thing. And I've been singing here for about 10 years. So I have a lot to do. I have another recording to make and a bare piece of land with my partner that we're building a house. And so anyway, I want to do concerts though, and so if any of you are interested in that, I have a mailing list back there, and I can let you know. Maybe in the spring or summer, definitely in the summer, do a concert, and I'm offering my CDs for $5 a piece to sort of is a clearance sale. And each one is unique and kind of a magical portion of my musical journey. So, so I'd like to play an oldie, but I think very suitable for today because we're focusing on that part of ourselves that is conducted by unconditional love. You know, so instead of something else we could be focusing on. So this song is called Adamantine, and the chorus was given to me in a dream, and I didn't know what adamantine meant, but the chorus in the dream was, "You're adamantine, yeah, completely indestructible." Wow, what is that? And looked it up, and so turns out you might have heard of adamantine particles. That might be these photons you're talking about, these particles that are conducted by the power of unconditional love. And the word adamantine is diamond-like, eternal, and durable. So that's who we are. So that this is a wonderful gift to receive. And, so come back to my table, say hello. Kelly, you know the backup harmonies on this. She's on the CD. Just sing it. You could just sing in your chair. It'll all come back. Am I ready to ask? Am I ready to listen? Ready to go within? Find what you're made of looking at us. I see a heavenly treasure. We are the ones beyond all measure. Am I ready to dive in deeper? I am the light, dissolving shadow. Am I ready to go into the darkness, face all my fear, to find what I'm made of? We're adamantine, yeah, completely indestructible, like a diamond in the rough, tossed around enough. Now it's our time to shine. We're adamantine, yeah, completely indestructible. This is what we're made of, nothing to be afraid of. It's just love, sweet love. Am I ready to gaze up into the night sky? How could this be? Where do I come from? And the soul remembers the awe and the mystery. The soul remembers like a sunbeam knows the sun. The soul remembers we are born of eternity. The soul remembers we are stardust, we are one. We're adamantine, we're unbreakable, we're everlasting. We're adamantine, yeah, completely indestructible, like a diamond in the rough, tossed around enough. Now it's our time to shine. I am ready to ask. I am ready to listen, ready to go within. Find what I'm made of, looking inside. I see a heavenly treasure. We are the ones beyond all measure. And the soul remembers
you. We love you. Don't forget us. We love you.
So I just want to see if maybe we can all join together in giving Kalyani a blessing. So let's just put our hands together. Kalyani, we love you. We love you. We bless you. We see the Christ light in you. And with every breath you take and every song you sing, that light grows brighter and brighter, blessing us all. Amen. Thank you. Okay, I have some messages, some announcements. That's the word I'm looking for. So we have a save the date. Our UGC annual general meeting will be held on Sunday, February 27th. That's next Sunday, after the service. It is also New Member Sunday. New Member Sunday will be February 27th during the service. The new member orientation is on Saturday, February 26th, from 10 a.m. to about noon. Please make sure you have turned in your new member application by Thursday, February 24th, if you're interested in being a new member. There's a couple of classes announcements: Exploring Higher Levels of Consciousness, Piercing the Veil. In March, we will be offering an 8-week journey into higher realms of consciousness that includes an exploration of psychic skills, increased awareness of discarnate beings such as spirit guides or angels, and increased recognitions of the signs and messages of the loved ones who have crossed the veil. So there's more information in the newsletter, the e-bulletin. The class is limited to 16 people, so please register for the class by calling the office right away. That number is 274-2463. Wednesdays beginning March 2nd through April 20th, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. in person in the sanctuaries when that class will be held. And then the spiritual exploration, they're starting a brand new exploration. They started a brand new exploration last week, and we are currently watching wonderful videos by Leonard Jacobson, in which he simplifies how to engage with presence and deal with the obstacles that arise when we participate in it. So join us on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Okay, then exploring the gifts of, we have a lot of things going on. Make sure you check your e-bulletin if you get it. And you can sign up for that in the back of the room if you don't. So exploring gifts of meditation. Each Thursday, Marlene will be leading a weekly class that explores the various methods of meditation and the many invaluable gifts of a meditation practice. Classes are a hybrid with in-person in the sanctuary as well as on Zoom, Thursdays at 10:30. And I think Inspiring Women, this is a good one here. Kathy Lee, I think you're here somewhere. They were unable to work on vision boards in January, so we'll have revisioned. We will be creating springboards soon. What are your dreams, your desires for 2022? Join in the joy with other inspiring women on Sunday, March 20th from 2 to 4. And I promise you, this is the last announcement. Save the date. Save the date. We have had a challenging 2 years, all of us. It's time we help ourselves and each other feel refreshed and renewed. The spring equinox will be here soon, and it's a perfect time to celebrate newness. Release the old and embracing now with gratitude. Let's dance for joy. Help us celebrate spring together on March 19th from 2 to 4 at Marlene and Cliffs, the beautiful property. If you have not been there, it's worth coming to be together. Then that's only if we have sunny weather. If it's at Unity. If it's raining or snowing, which we just prayed for. So let's hope it doesn't happen on that day. Okay. I think that we are now. All right. So now if you will just join together, you can stand for this, and we'll do our prayer of protection. Okay, together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. Presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is well. And our closing song is I Choose Love.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are part of each other. We are one. One loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because we choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. We choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us, let this be the one. We choose love. We choose love. We choose love.
Thank you all for coming. God bless you and have a beautiful Sunday.
And we have one more song. I was going to have it played at the end of my talk, but we kind of ran out of time. So if you have to go, you're welcome to go. But if you want to stay and enjoy this Mama Cass song performed in 1970, it's a prophecy. Okay. So let her rip, Leslie.
Have a great day, sweetie. Good to see you.
Oh, the sound isn't on.
I don't know these technical things here.
Oh, well, this. Which one is it? It's a new world's coming. There's a new world coming. Oh, well, you can look at it. I'll put it on YouTube. Google it on YouTube. There's Mama Cass, a new world coming.
All the papers and all of this back. That was beautiful, Claire.
Clear and sweet and free.
Oh my God, I needed to hear it too. There it is.
There's a new world coming, and it's just around the bend. There's a new world coming. This one's coming to an end. There's a new voice calling. You can hear it if you try, and it's growing stronger with each day that passes by. There's a brand new morning, rising clear and sweet and free. There's a new day dawning that belongs to you and me. Yes, a new world's coming, the one we've had visions of, coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love. Yes, a new